But a trigger alert, exactly as you said, means they're already shopping. And if they're already shopping and you're not in contact with them, that means they didn't call you first. And if they didn't call you first, then there's a reason for that.
Welcome to the Modern Marketing Loan Officer Podcast, brought to you by the Shining Star Hero Home Buying Program. Each week, successful loan officers share their experiences so that you can grow your mortgage business. Here's your host, Enrique Braunschweiger.
Hey everybody, how are you? Enrique here again with the Modern Marketing Loan Officer Podcast, sponsored by the Shining Star Hero Program. And today we have another special treat, somebody that I have been looking forward to talk to for a long time. I want to introduce to you Jamie Cavanaugh with AmeriFund Home Loans right here in California. And I'm going to let Jamie introduce herself, tell us a little bit about her, about who she is, her family, and then we're going to dive right into our topic today. Jamie, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time to do this.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. This is really a pleasure. It's always awesome and fun to get to be on a podcast and get to do stuff with a fellow loan officer, broker owner, and somebody like yourself that shares that same passion for kind of giving back. So what I love about this podcast the most is it's really about adding value and getting down to the details of what other LOs in our industry can do to help grow their businesses and better their marketing. So with that in mind, I'm Jamie. I've been doing this is my 23rd year in the mortgage industry, and it has been a ride and a fun one and a roller coaster in so many ways. I'm currently the Chief Operating Officer and a partner here at AmeriFund with my very long-time friend, Brad Rice, who is our CEO and also my partner. And we're a small broker shop here in Southern California, small but mighty, as I like to say, and really just here to offer any value that I can to any of the loan officers out there who are watching.
Wonderful. Now, Jamie, you have a small team, you said. How many people in your team?
So our headcount here is about 12 total, of which we have 4 inside loan officers who are strictly here to support our existing database, which Brad and I have built over the course of the last couple of years.
Wow. So you have, we're gonna dive into that in a few minutes. That's really the meat and potatoes here. So Jamie, first of all, again, thank you for accepting. I know you're very busy, but I've been excited about talking to you since your name came up on my list of the people that I wanted to talk to. I really circled the date on the calendar because I knew that this was going to be a special treat, especially because you and I have a lot in common. I mean, we're both independent. We both, we run this business as a family, and we've been at it for a long time. In fact, you and I probably went through the big dive and maybe lost everything and then had to rebuild again, right? So that was part of your history, right? That was part of your story.
Absolutely. It was an interesting ride. So back before the crash, so taking it all the way back, and it's interesting because AmeriFund was featured in this month's Women with Vision magazine, and part of the exercise of putting together the information for that article was I actually had to go all the way back to my start in this industry and go through the journey of the crash, leading up to it, wow, during it, and then directly after it. So just recently, I had to revisit all of this stuff. So it's really fresh in my mind now.
Did you get some post-traumatic stress disorder? Just remembering.
I say that all the time. PTSD from it. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And you know what? When COVID hit, my wife and I, who is my partner in my business, for a few days, we were really, it really hit us because we had to close the door of the office and work from home. And then we go, wow, here we are again. It's happening again. Fortunately, it didn't, right? For us, mortgage brokers, mortgage loan officers, we landed on the right side of this pandemic. Obviously, we're very fortunate. We're very blessed. Not a lot of people did. But for a moment, it was a little scary, right? So we kind of are glad that things are good. Well, let me tell you something. The reason why I decided to do this podcast, and this is one of many episodes that we have already recorded, that we have scheduled to put out there, is that when you get into the loan business, you obviously don't realize that very quickly you're going to be asked to do a lot of things. You're going to be asked to become a marketer. You're going to be asked to become a salesperson, an accountant, a bookkeeper, a human resources person. We're very fortunate now that we have people in our team to help us with a lot of those tasks. But when we start, maybe when we're a solo loan officer, we have to do it all. And we have to learn the marketing side of it very quickly. We realize that, when rates are good and loans are raining, man, everybody's making money. But as soon as those rates go up an eighth of a point, a quarter of a point, now we got to go out there and become real marketers, right? And the purpose of the Modern Marketing Podcast is to talk about specific things that the loan officers need to do or can do that they can implement by taking a page of someone else's book. So we talk about, video, we talk about social media, and we go talk to the people who are currently originating loans and doing great using those techniques or using those methods. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about, Jamie, today is about working with past clients. You mentioned that you have team members that are just dedicated to work with your past clients. So tell us, how important is it for you to market and to aggressively pursue existing past clients in your database?
It is absolutely critical. And it is the thing that has sustained Brad and I through the entire, past decade plus, 15 years plus. So post crash, even when things shrunk down and, we had to sort of reinvent ourselves, guess what it was that sustained us? Guess what it was that was always there? The database. The database has never failed us. It has always been there. And I mean, it obviously speaks to the fact that you have to have the muscle, behind the hustle, which is the service aspect of what you're giving to your clients. But remember, they're still consumers. If you're not in front of them, somebody else is. More than one somebody in most cases. And when you're up against the marketing giants of, the big retail players out there in the marketplace who have AI following consumer behavior, the only way that you compete with that is to never lose the personal touch that you have with your clients that made them begin to use you in the first place. And that is what we do. We never, ever, ever get away from constantly being engaged with our clients. We are checking in with them, monthly at certain milestones like birthdays and anniversaries. We're always aware of the last loan we did for those individuals, where their rate and program is, and when it might benefit them to do something different. These are the things that you have to do consistently in order to keep your database working for you and also to serve your clients.
It is crucial, right? Now, we're going to unpack a lot of things, but the first thing that I thought of is something that one of my coaches used to say. If you are not connected to your past clients, they're no longer your past clients. They belong to Quicken. They belong to LendingTree. They belong to Costco. They belong to, whoever they go online to click on, right? So your clients are only your clients if you are connected with them. You have not earned anything if you're not constantly communicating with them. So that's really going to be the topic of a conversation today. Now, we know, especially if you're watching this in May or June of 2021, we know that we just went through a very traumatic thing with this whole thing, this movement of, whether they're your clients or not your clients, and whether Quicken's calling them or not calling them, or all that good stuff. The reality is people say, well, you still have to be in front of your clients and you still have to be connected with them, regardless of who you're doing business with. Just because you may be sending all your business to a partner that sends that business back to you, a lot of these clients are not necessarily going to that one place. They're going on the internet. And once they go on the internet, it's a rabbit hole. You have a very good chance of losing them. What we do by being connected, we're not necessarily doing anything, just minimizing the chances, right? Just basically you are minimizing the chance they'll go somewhere else. You can never guarantee they're going to go somewhere else. Obviously, you lose clients, I lose clients. We're just trying to minimize the chance. What's the philosophy behind your communication with your database? What is your approach?
Well, our approach is always a check-in. It's always you're a valued client. We're checking in. We want to see how things are going. We keep copious notes about the stories of our clients so that no matter who is talking to that client, they know the story of the person. They matter to us. So we know, who their kids are, who their spouses are, that we were the ones that helped them with their first house on Apple Court. I mean, these are things we know and care about that set us apart from the big banks. But I think it's more than that. To your point, it's a proactive approach to the marketing of your database. Sure, there are some wonderful wholesale lender partners out there that feed those clients back to you in the event that they get some sort of a trigger alert. But a trigger alert, exactly as you said, means they're already shopping. And if they're already shopping and you're not in contact with them, that means they didn't call you first. And if they didn't call you first, then there's a reason for that. It's because they started shopping around or surfing around online and you weren't the first person or the first company that they thought of. And yes, that's going to happen to a small percentage of the customers, no matter what you do. But if you're in front of your clients, you're going to lessen the chances of that by always being in front of them and always being the first person or company that they think of the minute they think of a mortgage.
That's very true. You have to earn their business. I always say that, and I'm going to tell you, I'm huge on the past client database. I started working with the mortgage marketing animals a few years ago. That was my first coaching group. I'm no longer coaching with them, but one of the biggest things that I learned from Carl White and all these people is he calls it the low-hanging fruit, right? And one of the things that we do as loan officers is we get very complicated. We start buying lead pot leads and verse and going into HomeBot, and then we're doing billboards on this side. And then I have someone call me the other day and say, "Hey, are you doing any radio? Are you doing this?" And you know what? Those are all great things. Nobody says they're not. But it's almost like you have a tree with fruit, and then you go get a ladder and you climb to the very top of the tree to try to get that one apple at the top. And yet there's all these apples at the bottom that you're ignoring that are ripe and ready to go. That's what working your database is, right? You're trying to accomplish something that is fairly easy to do because you already earned those customers. They already know you. They already like you. In most cases, they already trust you. But yet we sometimes get complicated. We start going around, right? We start marketing outside of that. So let's start with a question for you. How many people do you have on your database? Do you care to share that?
Yeah, sure. I'm transparent, and if something I say or information I give can help somebody else, I'm all for it. I think the last time I checked, we were somewhere in the range of 8,000 to 10,000 customers.
Wow, that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Now, when I came back from my very first mortgage marketing animal, that was my first point of action, is that I needed to create a database. So my wife and I went to storage and pulled out there used to be called HUD ones, remember? So we pulled out every HUD one we had, and then I realized I didn't have a CRM. I didn't have a database. So we actually hired a person to literally input every one of those names and then go online to try to find phone numbers and emails. We were able to rescue a few thousand of them. And then from that day forward, we've been able to keep every name and everything. So we were able to rescue the old ones and then build a great database. I know you use a very specific CRM. We're going to talk about that briefly. Jungo, right? I don't use Jungo. I use Big Purple Dot. But it doesn't have to be Jungo, right? It doesn't have to be that one in particular. You like it because it's very robust. But it can also eat your lunch if you're not careful, because it's a lot of work. So what's your philosophy when it comes to CRM?
Brought that up. I am in the midst of a transition away from Jungo, and I'm something new. And what I'm using is called SalesMate, and it's not widely known because it's not a mortgage specific CRM, but it happens to be something that we're using for the tech startup that Brad my partner also has. It's a fintech startup, and because I've been watching it work really well for that company, it kind of got my juices flowing. And I realized that its functionality is amazing. It's simpler than Salesforce, which is what Jungo is built on, but it also has amazing features built into it. And so here's what it does that already plays into what I was using Jungo for. But in Jungo, I had to pay them or customize or build out things. Here, it's already part of the system. Number one, ingrained SMS messaging. So you're in the system, you're sending your SMSs out of it. It stays within the ecosystem of the CRM. 2 is email. Your email lives in the CRM, and you don't have to go out of it to Outlook. You're in it, which means every time you send or receive a message to the client in the CRM,
it gets recorded.
Anybody on the team can see it too, which means if somebody's out sick, minding you, I have an inside sales team. I also have outside loan officers, and they're amazing. I do have my inside sales team. So if somebody's not here, the other person can jump in immediately and see what the conversation's been. And then the third thing, and this is my favorite part, is what we call the sequencing. So some people use systems like Agent Legend for this, which works really, really well, but the sequencing is amazing. And I actually use the Carl White follow-up system for my sequencing, which is the intervals and the methods by which you follow up on your clients, whether it's a new lead or an existing client, whether it's a purchase or a refi. How do you reach out? When do you reach out? How often do you reach out? And for how long do you reach out? We built those in automatically so that our customers are always getting the consistent follow-up. And I know no matter what human being is touching that lead, I know the automated follow-ups are going out.
Absolutely. You know what? And it's funny you say the Carl White system, because I use the same thing. I still go through the same sequence of the contacts and what we say and how we say it. And it works really, really well. Now we've expanded to other areas where we do a lot of video, but specifically, if you are the typical loan officer that is watching this, someone who doesn't have a 10,000 people database, someone who doesn't have an in-house team that handles those. But you got a loan officer that maybe has funded already 300, 400, 500 loans in the last few years, maybe a couple of hundred loans. Where do we start? A simple CRM, a basic CRM? What would you recommend? What would you recommend? Not specifically brand, but what would you say?
Just any, what's our joke, right? What's the best CRM? It's the one you use all the time, right? Find one that you will use. Interview CRMs, test them, do demos. They all have free demos. Find one that's simple enough for you that it's going to, at a very minimum, just track the basic contact information for your database. Basics. Pay somebody data entry just to sit there and enter it. It's not the highest and best use of your time as an LO. Even if you're paying somebody $10 or $12 an hour to just sit there for a day.
High school kid, right?
Do it. Get it in somewhere, anywhere. And I assure you, if you have it somewhere, it can probably be exported into a format that if you decide to go into a new CRM later that's maybe a little more robust for you, it can definitely be transferred. But you got to start somewhere. You got to have your stuff organized. How do you market your database if you can't access your database?
So the first step is go find those names, those phone numbers, those emails. If you have an email, great. If you don't have an email, but you have a phone number, great. Put them all in there, right? If you can tag them by the closing date, any more information you can put in there. So whether it's Lion Desk, I use Big Purple Dot. There's all these different CRMs that you can get. A lot of them are free, believe it or not, right? And then get somebody in your family, maybe a high school person, a team, a temp, someone that can go and enter all this information. That was my first step. Carl White also, since we're on the topic of Carl White, he used to say that, and I believe that the numbers are actually higher, but he says that for every 100 people that you have in your CRM, if you market properly, you should get 2 to 3 sales a month out of it. Not just because those people are refinancing, but they're recommending other people. Yeah. I personally think my numbers are a lot higher than that. I think it's maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 per month for every 100, because everybody that we talk to is almost now connected to someone that we've done business with, right? Is that your experience as well?
Very much so. It's funny, Gary Vee, who I follow quite frequently, does this really short clip on this technique. So the uncomfortable conversation is always the, do you need a loan? Okay, so putting it in the perspective of if you're asking somebody to borrow money, if you say to somebody, hey Enrique, can I borrow $5? You might be like, ugh. What if I say to you, hey Enrique, do you know anybody that could lend me $5? Who do you know that needs a loan?
Who do you know? Exactly.
I'm not going to call you and make you feel put on the spot. Who do you know? I proved to you that I'm trustworthy. I gave you great service. I can guide you. I'm an expert in my field. I'm your person when you need a mortgage loan. Who do you know? Who do you know that I can help?
Absolutely. Now, we now determine we got to get a CRM. We got to get the names in there. My suggestion, before I say anything else, is that if you're thinking about doing something for your business this week, if you're a loan officer, maybe you're new, maybe you've been around a couple of years, if you're thinking, okay, what can I do for my business in the next couple of weeks that will have a tremendous impact, is do that. Get the CRM, get the names in there. If you do that, let me tell you, it's the best thing you can do for your business this entire year. Especially coming off of the big refi boom. If you did a lot of refis, if you did a lot of loans in there, those are all great people to put into the CRM. Now, they're in there. I know that you probably have a very comprehensive, reach out sequence, but for the person that's just listening to this, what is a basic sequence of communication that you can have with past clients that you think will be effective enough to be able to retain a lot of them?
And by the way, since you're mentioning it, I have an old-fashioned Word document with a little quick sequence of scripts and things. I would be happy to share that with anybody that's watching or listening after this that would like to reach out to me. More than happy to share that, because I think that sometimes going back to the basics is just as effective as all the fancy stuff that some of the larger organizations or people with a team have. But to your point, for us, it's literally, we always do a phone call, because a phone call is always best. We may or may not reach the client, at which point we're going to send a bomb video follow-up. Bomb videos are the best. The open ratio is much, much higher than a regular email. The face and the voice to the messaging always comes through to our clients a lot better. So it's really just that. And what we will do is minimum of every 6 months, we're reaching out to our clients, unless there's a life event or an anniversary or something else, or they're coming up on one of my reminder lists that, hey, they're eligible for either a refi or there's something else going on that I need to tell them about. So there's that. And then there's just the general marketing we're doing all the time. Whether it's weekly mortgage update videos that we push out as a company to our database, or whether it is, educational materials. I do like a loan program of the week that people may not know certain things exist. And when I do those things, by the way, I don't do them with an ask, and I do that intentionally, because I think you're doing the ask when you call your client. If you're also pushing out value and educational information for people, then you're establishing your value there with them, and you're establishing that you are an expert in what you do.
I'm gonna make time out here. So what you're basically saying is that you're not contacting these people asking for loans. You're contacting these people to tell them about, it's tax time, or hey, there's this tip about, whatever, all things about them. So you're making it about them. Now, obviously, your information is on the email. Your information is on so they know that, hey, this is what you do, right? I know we mentioned at the very end of every communication, say, hey, by the way, if you know of anyone that's interested in buying or refinancing a home, let us know. But that's never the intention. Right. It's really rare that you probably send a piece where you say, hey, unless like rates drop drastically, and then you got to let people know, hey, rates are phenomenal right now. Don't miss this opportunity, which still are, by the way. We should be sending that message out a little bit. But absolutely. But you're about giving them, correct?
Absolutely. Unless there's, and I know all of my clients' current rates because I did their last loan. So yes, absolutely. If John Smith refied and I know right now he can save a 0.5 percentage point and $300 a month, you bet he's going to get a personalized call to say, John, I was looking at your loan. I'm telling you right now, this makes sense. That call happens consistently. But in the mix are all the other consistent follow-ups that everybody's going to get.
Phenomenal. Now, very, very good. Now, if I came to you and I purchased a mortgage from you, if I bought a house and I couldn't do my own loan, so I called you and said, Jamie, I need you to do my loan. How many times a year are you going to touch me? How many times a year are you going to reach out to me on average?
I would guesstimate, if we're talking about the company pushes too, I'm probably in your face a minimum of 12 to 20 times easily.
Very good. Very good. That's a pretty, and a lot of people are thinking, wow, that's a lot of times. The reality is actually not that much, right? That's you probably, I bet you that you probably do a little more than that. But here's I know, for example, what we're doing for us is we know we send one communication by email every month. Yep. And what we do is so that's 12. Okay. And then 4 phone calls a year, which we do every quarter. So that's 4, right? Then the birthday or the whatever, 4th of July, the standard kind of thing, just to be in front of them, that maybe let's call it another 6 or so. So we're up to 22 times, right? Now, I started introducing a video once a month in addition to the other thing, because I'm finding that I just like video and I'm using BombBomb. Anybody listening to this podcast more that had listened to all the episodes must think that I'm sponsored by BombBomb, but I'm a big BombBomb guy, right? And they don't even give me a discount. I should call them. But BombBomb is phenomenal because I can record to the database. My database is already uploaded. I don't do it through my CRM. I actually uploaded everything to BombBomb. BombBomb delivers the emails directly to the customer. So I do another 12 there. So I'm touching my customers 34 times. Now, customers still going to go somewhere else. It happens. But let me tell you something. The chances are minimized. And it's so easy. write an email, something like that. Now, do you do any direct mail to the customers? Do you send postcards? Tell me about what you do other than just electronic communication.
Absolutely. I still do postcards. I still do them to my database. I do them every 4 to 6 weeks, just depending on the time of year. Every 4 to 6 weeks, without fail, a postcard goes out. Usually it's the same messaging unless I need to, change up the messaging because of the market. So sometimes it's more based on, for a while it was more refi, kind of where our rates and things you can do with, out. Now it's more a little more vanilla, based on just a reminder that we're here. It's got my face, it's got my partner's face on it, and it's a reminder we are here always.
Right. Now, obviously, mailing at that level for a lot of loan officers is prohibited because they might not have the resources. Obviously,
Absolutely.
I mean, your numbers are phenomenal. You understand where your dollars need to go. You're going to mail a postcard to your database before you actually go put a billboard on the road or do TV or anything else, right? Because that's money that's just waiting for you to go pick up, basically. That's all it is marketing your database is a clear goal of your marketing. It's your main marketing. But on the other hand, if you don't want to start with anything mailing out, a phone call is free.
Absolutely.
An email is free. A bomb is free. There is really no excuse, right? So I know that there are people listening today or watching today who are not marketing to their database. And I'm honestly pleading to you and begging to you, if you do something, market to your database, you're going to pick up loans or someone else is. It's that simple. And we know who those are, right? The guys with the big money, right? The big
we talk about call reluctance, but there's video reluctance now too. There's this gripping paralysis of I can't, I don't want to. I've experienced it with some of the newer interns I've brought in and trained up to be in-house loan officers here, where it's like they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. And finally I just grab them, bring them in, watch me do it. Now you do it. Okay, you do 5 of them, you do 10 of them. I can do this. It's not so scary anymore. Right. Just start now, today.
I was talking to Alan Christian about Bomb Video a few weeks ago, and he's going to be on one of the podcasts. And he says, people worry about what they sound like and what they look like. People already know what we sound like. They already know what you look like. Imagine if one of your customers is on the phone and your assistant says, "Hey, Jamie, Mary's on the phone, wants to talk to you." And you go, "Well, I can't talk to Mary. I don't sound good." You don't say that. You pick up the phone and you talk to them, right? Same thing with video. People already know what you sound like. People know what you look like. They're still going to do business with you. And, I know not everybody can look like Ryan Eller, but we can try, right? So, exactly. So, on the other hand, we have a few more minutes. So I want to kind of wrap things up a little bit. First of all, the information you're giving us is super valuable. So here I am. I'm a loan officer. I don't know where to start. Walk me through very briefly. If I was coming to you and you were my coach and I said, "Jamie, where do I start with this marketing to the database?" I know we talked about CRM, but put it all together for me.
Let's get your database organized. Let's put it somewhere. I don't care if it's Excel at this point. Just get it somewhere. Get it somewhere. Find your CRM. I don't care what CRM it is, something you can use. Get your database into that CRM. Next, figure out how you're going to reach out to your clients. It's a phone call. It's an email at a minimum. Why? Because those things are free. Take 5 minutes, create a template, create a script. Your phone call is your script. Your template is your email. Get your system going and do it fast. And if you do it once, you will get momentum. And I promise you will see people reply. And once that starts to happen, you are planting seeds. And those seeds are what will sustain your business. I absolutely guarantee it.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the content, if you're sending emails, again, it's never about the asking for the business. So if you're sending an email, for example, in March, well, tell them that don't forget to take your W-9 to your accountant so you can deduct your taxes, right? If you're sending them an email in February when the property tax bills come in, hey, if your loan's impounded, don't freak out. You don't have to pay them. If you're talking to them in the summer, talk about specific things related to maybe home improvement, things like that. So you're not necessarily selling them a mortgage. They already know you're a mortgage person. You're just trying to stay in front of them. If you're calling them, it's just really checking in, right, Jamie? Just checking in. I know I make a few of the calls. My staff makes a few of the calls, but it's basically, hey, Enrique wanted me to check in with you and see how you guys were doing. Is there anything we can help you with? things going well? Is this still your email address? Is you're still in the same address? And then shush and see what they tell you, and you'll be amazed. Oh, by the way, my cousin, I've been meaning to give him your phone number because he wants to refinance or whatever. So what do you tell them when you call?
Listen. Oh my gosh, listening is so huge. But also the verification of their contact information is a great one. We do it all the time. Hey, listen, we like to keep in touch with our clients. We just want to call and make sure we have the correct email address on file for you. Make sure you haven't moved. And then guess what happens? They moved. What happened? You didn't call us for your loan? What?
Oh, yeah.
These conversations, right? Well, how long ago did you get that loan? Well, what's your rate on that loan? These are the things that start the conversations that can catapult you into your next loan, your next referral, because somebody's feeling like, oh man, I really should have called Jamie for that one. Maybe I should let my brother who's looking to get pre-approved, maybe I should, send him to her. These are the things that work. They work.
Phenomenal. I'm going to now stop talking about marketing, and I'm just going to leave with this, and I want to give you an opportunity to share with people. But if you go into the dictionary and you look up the word leadership, you're going to find a picture of Jamie. In our community, in the broker community, in the loan officer community, you are a leader. And you are a leader that doesn't need a title. You just take on and you go and share and give, and that's who you are. You are involved with our brokers. You are involved with different things. Tell us a little bit about what are some of the things you're doing. And also, you mentioned something very intriguing to me, is that you took all your educational materials and you actually put them up somewhere so people can actually go look at them just because you like to give. So tell us a little bit about it.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very involved in our broker community, really, really involved with the Women's Mortgage Network, which is near and dear to my heart as a woman who has come up in the business from a young age as a young executive in my 20s. So I'm always looking to help others in, working their way up, new loan officers and so forth. And on the broker advisory board for Equity Prime Mortgage, which has been a really awesome thing. It's great to be collaborative with wholesale lenders who really want to listen to feedback from the brokers to figure out how to improve. Constant improvement is important as well. In terms of, of the content. So I do those weekly blast out to the database, as I mentioned, and I'm always offering value without an ask. Well, I don't brand all of those, and I put those videos up on amerifund.com, and you can actually go to our vlog and our blog. And I do that because many of my friends who are broker owners and LOs have said, hey, do you mind if I use it? No, I don't mind at all. If you want to use any of my content, please do. There is enough business out there for all of us, and if something that I put the time into can help you, take it.
Absolutely. I just finished a class this morning where I taught on my BNI group about giver's gain, and this is exactly what it is about. It's about giving to others and sharing with others, sharing the opportunity that was given to us at some point. And you know what? Our businesses will flourish. So I cannot thank you enough. Let me tell you, if you're a broker, you're a loan officer, and you don't follow Jamie, go to Facebook, go to social media, go find her, go follow her, become a fan of this person. Every time I see you saying something positive and encouraging to others and helping others, you're very involved. Also helping women who are building their mortgage business, who are also growing their business. I know that's really, really important to you as well. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for your time. I'm super grateful.
Thank you. I'm really grateful to you too. And thank you for being a leader in our industry.
I really appreciate it. Well, this is all we have today. Tune in again. We have more of this podcast where we're going to continue to talk about the specifics of mortgage marketing. And, can't wait to see what's next for you guys. And thank you again, Jamie. God bless and have a great day.
You too.